Welcome back to Hey Mary Kay and the Orange and Brown Talk feed. Doug Lesmerises filling in for Dan Lobby this week. He's taking a break, but Mary Kay Cabot is here because you can't have Hey Mary Kay without Mary Kay. And Mary Kay, I'm going to tell you, I'm excited for this because I'm excited to be back with you. But we're going to run through your insider story from the weekend. And I say this is perhaps the greatest compliment that I can give a journalist. Every weekend when you tweet out your insider, my stomach jumps. I get excited to read it. And like, in the end, is that not why we do this, Mary Kay? So people get excited to read the stuff that we're putting out into the world. So everybody, of course, if you listen to this, you're reading cleveland.com/Browns. All right, we want to dive into this insider. And you said that we could just sort of go through. So I'm going to go like in the order of the things that I am really interested in. And there is a guy who is just of particular interest to me. You've mentioned him a couple times, and it's Lavonte David, the linebacker from Tampa. I'm fascinated to see where the Browns go at linebacker. They obviously have holes there, but man, a veteran like Lavonte David, who's coming off a ring, and you saw, I mean, he's over 30, but man, he can still move. He can cover. He can tackle. Like, I maybe it's a stretch. I don't know. But whenever you put his name out there, Mary Kay, like that gets me juiced up because a guy like that makes so much sense to me.
I know. And boy, I think he would just be the perfect fit for the Cleveland Browns in so many ways. Not only the things that you mentioned about what he can do on the field, but this guy is a very vocal leader. And I actually think they could use another guy like that on defense, depending, of course, on whether or not BJ Goodson is coming back, because BJ Goodson has that way about him as well. The sort of established leader of the defense, of course, is Myles Garrett, but he's not really necessarily sort of a vocal guy. That doesn't come naturally to him. He's more of a guy that likes to lead by example. And he did jump out of his comfort zone a little bit last season, but it's just really not in his wheelhouse. Not so with Lavonte David. This guy is that player that you think of, sort of the face of the defense. That's what he is for the Bucs, which is also a reason why they do not want to let him go. I mean, they just really don't want to let him go. At the boat parade, Bruce Arians grabbed the mic when somebody asked Lavonte David, "Are you coming back?" And he said, something like, "Yes, your ass is coming back here," or something along those lines. They don't want to let him go. However, there is something called the negotiating period that happens between March 15th and March 17th. This gives players, it's a pre-negotiating period. It gives players an opportunity to see what they can get on the open market without making a commitment. And it gives your current club the opportunity to see if they are going to be willing to match that. And the Browns will have a lot of players that they'll be dealing with of their own in those 2 days as well. But that's a chance for the Browns to throw some money at Lavonte David and see if he can take it back to the Bucs. And they either say yay or nay. And I'm saying there's a chance.
We're about to enter a world where a gazillion more names are going to get out there because of the cap situation. How many guys are going to be cut loose? And so Lavonte David is a great name, but Mary Kay, I would imagine there will be some other veteran linebackers who can still play, who aren't out there yet, but will be out there in the next week, that could also fit this mode that in general, Mary Kay, are the idea of a veteran linebacker. Just that in general just make a lot of sense to you.
Yes, it does. I think they need to invest in a really good, proven veteran linebacker if they can get one. Obviously, Lavonte David would be number one on the list. And as you mentioned, he really hasn't lost a step. And when you're looking at these veteran free agents, and you're talking about a guy that starts to get to 30, 31, and 32, certain positions you can go there. Like offensive line, you can go with a little bit of an older guy. Some defensive linemen, you can go with a little bit of an older guy. I think you can do it with linebacker too, even though he does have to move a lot. Now, with a cornerback, you might not want to do it because at 32, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with some of these young receivers. But I think you can do it at linebacker. And he is drinking from the same fountain of youth as Tom Brady. So I still think that he has, I did not see him lose a step at all last year. I think he can come in and be that guy for you. If you can't get your hands on him, another one to look at is Matt Milano from the Bills, another really good linebacker that can cover, that can tackle, that can do all the things that you would need him to do. So he's somebody else that I would definitely keep an eye on. Now you're going to have to pay these guys. You're going to have to, both of these guys are going to be in the double-digit millions. I mean, if you want to pry Lavonte David away from the Bucs, you're probably going to have to pay him like $13 million a year. And that's a lot of money. And you might have to start moving some money around in other places in order to pull it off. But I think it's worth it. I would like to see them end up with a guy like that.